these BIS, Bank of International Settlement numbers, suggest that the proper gold and silver ratio, based on those figures I just mentioned, should be roughly 3.3 to 1, or silver price today at $424 per ounce, Harvey.
Yes, that is correct. The other way of looking at it is that you can actually do it in just real life by actually saying what the demand for silver is now and put those in dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You see, let's just say that the demand for silver is about 600 million ounces. So if you take $28 per ounce, you got, $16 billion market. That's the market. The BIS gives the derivatives on the entire, they call it other metals, other precious metals, which there's only one, okay, because the palladium and platinum is zero. So they said that the total is $127 billion.
Correct.
Of derivatives by the major banks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then we go to the OCC. Now, the OCC is the U.S. arm, and they measure the derivative risk of the banks. I want to tell you guys, it's very, very important, is that the bank is not concerned, if you have a long on it, they're not concerned the long. They're only concerned on a failure to deliver. So in other words, they'll only take half of the equation. Okay? And the same thing with the OCC. Let's say I came in to buy 100 ounces of gold, okay? And I say, I'll take delivery of it in January 9th, 2011. So I pluck down some of my money, and then by January 11th, the whole thing comes due. I pay it, and I take my gold away. Okay? A lot of these guys, prior to this, were just rolling it over, and that's how they were playing the market, up until recently. Now, all of a sudden, you're seeing volume at the LBMA tract.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the owners, realizing their scarcity, they're just saying, I'm not going for it. I'm taking my metal out now.
Mm-hmm.
So metals are being totally withdrawn out of the London market, the LBMA,
mm-hmm.
and they're going to China, they're going to Saudi Arabia, wherever they want to do,
right,
to take it out. So we're seeing that. So the key thing is now we're witnessing is backwardation, where a 6-month forward in gold and silver are the same price as spot. Well, that's kind of impossible to have because you have insurance costs, you have delivery costs, you have all kinds of things. But when you start seeing gold and silver in backwardation based in U.S. dollars, then you know you have a massive shortage of product, and the LBMA is opening itself up to a total collapse, where the collapse meaning they'll be in default, and then that'll spread right to the COMEX. Now, what Kirby is showing is that even when we have J.P. Morgan and HSBC as the major short, that is true because that's what they have as the forwards. These two guys are the big forwards. The other 90% are the calls, the naked calls. So J.P. Morgan, knowing that they've been watched like there's no tomorrow,
mm-hmm.
called on their fellow brethren and say, guys, you got to help me. Okay, we got to start. You guys got to underwrite calls, which is what they did. So what happens? The guys all of a sudden in November, we're witnessing huge amounts of people exercised on their COMEX contracts and took delivery. And on November it was 4.5 million ounces, which was huge. Before I would say maybe it would be 100,000, 200, all 4.5 million.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I'm going to tell you that put a huge dent. A huge dent. And all of a sudden, now I'm seeing, there's no toys. You're seeing cash settlements now
mm-hmm.
because they're trying to conserve as much as they can.
Right.
And we're seeing this in both sides, the London, and you're seeing it COMEX.
What you're astounded by and what Kirby is astounded by, if the worldwide value of available silver, investment-grade silver, is somewhere in the neighborhood of $16 billion, then the notional silver derivatives at $127 billion that just is the absolute smoking gun of the fraud.
That's the question I believe that I stated at the CFTC hearings. I says, why do we need to have that kind of derivatives? There is nowhere on earth you have that you have a derivative 10 times greater than the entire market.
Right.
That's impossible.
Right.
Unless a crime is being committed. And
right.
that's what Kirby and I are trying to tell you guys. Kirby is a great analyst. He's super. And he was the one who has discovered the bond problem, which is the second issue.
Mm-hmm.
You see, because what the United States has, well, you saw the total of billions of dollars, okay, in silver and gold. Well, that's minuscule compared to the other derivatives, which is in the trillions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's the interest rate swaps. Okay, and Kirby wrote about the interest rate swaps, and J.P. Morgan is the largest in the world on interest rate swaps.
Mm-hmm.
And they have done so much in purchase these bonds that it forces everybody else to purchase bonds to keep interest rates on the long-term low. Now, all of a sudden, for the first time in a long time, we're seeing interest rates on the long-term bonds rise against the wishes of Bernanke. He went and said, "Wait a minute, we're going to buy these bonds because we want the long-term rates to fall."
Well, and Harvey, if for anybody who is not 100% certain as to the degree of the criminality of J.P. Morgan, and I mean, it's an arm of the Fed, and J.P. Morgan is being used to buy the 30-year, okay, and then immediately trying to hedge themselves by going short on the 30, 60, 90-day paper, and even that is turning. That's not going to work.
That is correct. But I want you to be careful when you say what they're actually doing in the future. What we call interest rate swaps is they purchase trillions of dollars of bonds in the future and short in the future huge amounts or equal amounts of treasuries at zero rate, like 0.09% per annum. So in essence, what happens there is they're risking that if the interest rates start to rise, a 1% on trillions of dollars is $500 billion for these guys. This will wipe out J.P. Morgan. If you wipe out J.P. Morgan, you wipe out other banks because the dealings between them. Look at the problem that Lehman Brothers did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with a failure of just one bank. Can you imagine J.P. Morgan failing?
Mm-hmm.
The whole world will collapse in a nanosecond. And that's the danger. And that's what I'm trying to. I need for you guys to understand the significance of Kirby, because Kirby has given not only the problem that J.P. Morgan is being the largest owner of interest rate swaps, but it also is the largest short in silver and gold. For certainly silver. They certainly took over for silver. HSBC is also very, very large in that capacity as well.
I think what's important for people to understand is that silver, okay, being the common man's metal, still represents an enormous value, and in a world suffocating in paper, it actually represents a life raft, okay, for you to somehow find some measure of protection for you and your family. When we talk about J.P. Morgan possibly crashing, and when we talk about a default on the COMEX or the LBMA, these are things that, the ball is so far in motion and so far down the hill, that can't be stopped. What we want, what you and I want, what we all want is a truthful, honorable system. But I think the only way we're ever going to get back to something like that is for this system to crash, and it's well on its way, correct?
I believe so. I actually tell people, I wish I'm wrong, but I'm not. That's my line, I wish. And the other thing is I always use the line, and it was probably Voltaire's original line, is that all paper money goes to their intrinsic value, and that intrinsic value is zero.
Right.
And once you understand that, and it will, and these guys will do anything they can. The bankers are crooked. Now, I will tell you guys this, that Bart Chilton is a very honorable man.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you he's a really good guy. He recognizes what's going on. And I think pretty well Gensler is for us. I'm not sure about the other three, but I am confident that we're going to have position limits come January, and the exemptions will be removed. That's going to create a mess for Morgan, a mess.
Well, you've been absolutely so generous with your time. So again, on behalf of all of us, thank you.
I am here at all times for you guys. Anytime you want, I'm there for you. And I do this willingly and lovingly for all you guys, so that you can protect yourself.
I know you do.
And family.
Just so people can get in tune with what you're doing on a daily basis, it's just such important research and commentary. Can you tell us again how to find you on the Internet?
I'm at www.harveyorgan.blogspot.com.
We will check it out. Harvey, thank you again.
It's a pleasure. Thanks ever so much.
We will talk to you again soon, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, I wanted to let you know that this interview with Harvey Organ represents only about half of all of the information that we spoke about over the course of more than an hour. I'll do my best to get the other 2 parts of this amazing interview with Harvey Organ posted at some point later this week. And as always, thanks for watching.